So let me tell you a story. Back when I was in school, I would just have poor communication I had in my and just to my teachers, mates. I would just be able to out of my head, and that was not it was not intended, and that really, I think that they will not even though we may think that they know it, they may not actually understand what's going on in our mind. And I believe once you realize or once you have the awareness in this skill, because I was lacking it, I was very much lacking in this communication skill. I realized that I was struggling in it and just improving the clarity of thought and having words that mismatch because of came out of my mouth, the words that were received from the friend or else, because they'll think something else, and then this communication you know is audio okay? Just let me know if there's any problem with the audio. Anyways, so this communication is the exchange of information from one point to another point. This is the general definition of communication. So it can be information, it can be words, it can be anything. And in our case, communication is the exchange of words, ideas, thoughts. So it, the words or and received by the receiver. So the sender has to send the words, thoughts, or ideas that they have in the most effective way possible for the receiver to understand. So, for example, if you want to communicate, let's just say, to a 5-year-old kid, we to make sure that we are communicating in a way that the receiver understands, not just saying what we know. We to make sure that that put out words out there, put out the thoughts out there, and did not think about the receiver or the person who was listening to me. They do not understand what I also know the audio better. So just tell me if the audio is. I think it's sound. So I was talking about the communication gap between the receiver and sender. We have to minimize the communication gap. What we intend to say must be clear to the receiver. What we want to say to our friend, we have to make sure that it is clear that they will understand it. We cannot just say the words or thoughts in our own way and just pretend or think that they will understand. Friends, okay, maybe they understand anger or stranger. We want to communicate something. They do not know how we speak, so we have to speak in a way that they will understand our words, our ideas. And that is so important is for the exchange of knowledge and to improve the communication skills. That's the first level of like awareness, just to know that how you're speaking to the person next to you. I would like to show 5 things, 5 areas which you need to focus on to improve communication. You see the screen? These are 5 areas which you must focus on. It is rate of speech, volume, melody, tonality or tone, and pausing. To be an effective speaker, to be an effective communicator, you have to excel and practice these 5 areas of speech. You have to make sure that you incorporate this in your speech. And in the beginning, we think that we know how to communicate. I did. I thought I knew. I was just talking. Communicating is a skill. Talking is just like a habit. And communicating, we have to practice the skill of that to improve. The 5 areas are shown here. First is rate speeds. So what that means is in certain times you can speak more quickly where what you're saying is not so important. But in certain times you can speak more slowly to show more importance and people will focus their attention on that. And it's so important to have a variety of both high and low rate of speeds because only when there's a mix of both, there's like a harmony in your speech, and I believe that with practice, people will improve. Just like how the other 5 areas. Second one, the volume. You can be very loud or you can be quiet. Quiet is like showing the suspense, and loud you can just project your ideas out there, and that is just to display what you have out there. And you need a mix of both loud and quiet to balance out in the speech. The melody. Melody is, we all know instruments, music. Melody gives the music life, gives the music life. And without melody, we will not feel like listening to the music. That's the reason that certain music is stuck in our head. And once we only need to listen to the song once, and when we get addicted to it, we just remember the melody. Because we remember the music because of the melody. Just like that, to make our speech memorable, we have to give it melody. And that it's like adding music to your, adding, giving life to your words, and not just being like monotone. I'm definitely working on melody. I'm definitely working on all of these areas. We have to just accept what is not going well with us. Like we may not be able to have a proper rate of speech, and the volume may be low, or the melody is not there, and you have to pick out what is wrong and just focus on that one area. I'll get to the next. Fourth one is tonality. Another is the tone of how you speak. You can speak in different ways with emotion, and at certain times you have to have a different tone, and that will allow the audience to infer what is going on or what is he trying to display. And I suffer from just having a monotone, and I'm still improving on that, but I know I'm aware of that. So that's a very key area of tonality. Because if you're monotone, it's very easy for the audiences to get distracted. This tone is pausing. Pausing, you have to be giving words rest. You would stop after what you want to say, and you cannot just be continuously speaking if the audience will not be able to understand what you're trying to say. Because you may have the best ideas, you may have a great speaking skills, you may have great speech, volume, melodies there, tone is there, but if you don't pause between words, I did right now, just for effect. Once you pause, it's like this is how we're speaking. When the audience is catching up, then once you pause, the audience catches up to the last word you said, then you can start. Then they'll be able to start with you. Otherwise, you keep going, they catch up in their mind to just understand what you're saying. And I think pausing will really create a powerful, effective way just to communicate if you do it at a correct time. And I think while saying something important, then pausing for most people forget to pause because they think that we need to just say everything what we have in our mind, but take your time. This pause is very effective. Another thing is people just tend to speak again and again, and when they pause, they hear the silence, and the doubt comes in, negative thoughts, maybe judgment, what would they think, things like that. But you gotta realize that pausing makes it more better. They will be able to think better of you because they understand you more because you're able to structure your communication by pausing. So those are the 5 areas that you must focus on to improve communication. So very great communicator speaker that I watch is Yin Yang, and he has millions of followers of millions of followers throughout his social media. And this is one tip that he gave, the challenge, 45 days challenge, improve your communication. You just look through this. It may seem so simple. Record a 5 minute video, analyze the audio, analyze the video, transcribe. Done. Feels like you can do this in maximum 10 minutes, right? But it's actually more complicated than that. Number one thing is first step. That is the most difficult step. Record a 5 minute video. Maybe have ego and think that it's easy. Even I do think it's easy, but you will procrastinate on that. 5 minutes. First thing that you have to do is take off everything off your mind. Grab your phone, set a timer for 5 minutes. On the spot, speak whatever comes to mind. So something that you can speak about is what you do in the day, maybe what are some of your hobbies, what's your plan for tomorrow, what did you learn today, and how you feeling. Just say anything in those 5 minutes. After that, you stop the video, stop recording. Do not watch the video. It says analyze your audio and video. Do not do it that time. Because I'll give you an example. When I record my videos for YouTube, I get critical and I did not watch it at that moment after recording. I've just done the recording and I'm like a bit exhausted after that, so I just want to focus my awareness on something else, and that will be helpful. And when the next day comes, when you analyze, you get a clear mind. It will be more easy to analyze the audio and video, just like that. You take the 5 minute video. The next day, you analyze the audio. So you just keep your phone away from, just keep your phone away. Then you just hear what you're saying. And obviously you need a piece of paper. Just take a random piece of paper and you write down the words where you monotone, what you're repeating, where you feel maybe slow or too fast in certain areas. Maybe lots of complicated words. Maybe right now I'm analyzing my audio while I'm speaking, and I just said maybe like 3, 4 times. So analyzing is very key, and yeah, fillers to it. And I said, and maybe like there's some words that you tend to repeat, and my one word that I tend to repeat is definitely. I would just repeat definitely. In that time, is just analyze, write down all the things that you heard. Then open the video, put it mute, then you watch the video, analyze that, write it down. There's no audio, so you're only watching what you're saying, your body language, your hand movement, facial expressions, all that. You can't hear anything. So it's like we're dividing into parts. The audio, video, the last will be both audio and video. The last audio and video and see how the body language matches with what you're saying, rate of speech is aligned, volume, tonality, pausing is there. Just write it down. Trans- Transcribe would be you would be giving it to like a speech pathologist. That's what Bin Yang would recommend because he would say that whatever you say, all the words that you say, you get it transcribed, then you know exactly each word what you are saying. So when you're just hearing, you may not come across that, but when you see the words that you have spoken, it will be much easier to identify the mistakes. After that analysis, you get an idea of how your communication is. If you're not speaking on stage, if your communication is great or you're very good at speaking, but it can be for anyone, and it's different because you're speaking to a camera and kind of feels weird speaking to a camera. You have to get used to that. So first time it will be bit, it won't be perfect for anyone. And after that, after you analyze it, then after a couple of days, you just repeat this process. You record another one. You have the mistake in mind, then you can improve on that. And you don't need to try to fix all the mistakes all at once. You just need to focus on one mistake. Maybe it was filler words. So speak for 5 minutes and be so focused on not saying a single filler word. That's what you have to do. When you analyze audio, video, both, then transcribe, then you just each time you go try to improve one skill, and then overall each day you do this, you'll see a significant improvement after this 45 days challenge. So this is how to improve public speaking. This is not communication, it's like under communication. Communication is the topmost and most important skill, and public speaking goes under that. And I'm not a public speaker, but these are the tips that you must focus on to improve. Number one, you have to be engaged with the audience, and that is so important because to gain their attention, you have to just ask a question, like a rhetorical question, or share a story, or add humor into it, and that is very good to start in the beginning of the speech, so you get them hooked. Just like I said, start with a question. Always, if you start with a question, they always have a brief idea or something like what it is about. They want to know more. Rehearse. Rehearsing is so key for public speaking because it's not like you're speaking to camera. Even though I've never done
speech before. I've only done one speech back in school. That was with a paper, and I had a podium, and that's way better. With camera, speaking from the camera and doing a speech is very different because there the body language, hand movements, and all that come into play. You have to be on top of it. Communication skills being perfect. The body language, the engage, you have to be loud. In the speech, you have to be very loud. Not just those normal speeches, but like those long speeches. You have to be like loud and pitched, just to be out, just to be outwards. So they do their attention goes to you. And if you have a presentation, make sure that it is very simple and you do not have too much paragraphs or pictures. Just have simple bullet points. So they just read that and we explain more depth on that. Any questions so far on this? How to improve public speaking or the 5 areas of communication to improve, or even the 45-day challenge? Any questions on that? For improving confidence through the communication, maintaining eye contact is very key. I would just sometimes when someone would be speaking to me, my eyes just wander, look down, shows low confidence. So you need to have an eye contact. Open body language. You make sure that your hands are down and just out, speaking confidently, loud. Move your body cautious. Stand properly. Stand upright when you're speaking, doing speech. The volume has to be varied, but it has to be out there. It has to be loud. I'm not saying it's scream, but it has to be it's a 0 to 100 scale. It has to be average, maybe 60, 70. And needs sentence on a lower pitch. you have to always speak down, like go down pitch, lower pitch you have to end on, so it will feel more, I won't say satisfying to the, maybe soothing, maybe soothing more, sounds more soothing when you're speaking down low pitch, but if it's like up pitch, it won't sound so correct. And then taking pauses is very important. Pausing throughout the speech or talk that you're giving. So talking about this communication skills, we all want to talk, we all want to communicate. Behind that, there is the second most important skill, listening skill. If you're the sender, we send the communication, the knowledge, words, thoughts. Receiver has to receive the words through the listening skill of listening. We would just, or I just hear what the person will be saying. Maybe have some other talk about some random, maybe football match or any other sports, something random idea, thought in my mind. I would not be focused on what they're saying. Even if I was, sometimes I would be thinking what I would be saying next, what I wanted to say next. And I think that's very poor way to just communicate, even though we're not communicating anything. We have to respect that person speaking and have an open mind, make sure that we just listen. And how I do this is now as I improved a lot, keep the awareness on the words that they're speaking, very clear what they're saying, and you're like in sync with the present word that they're saying, step by step, each word by word, you're on that. Otherwise, sometimes we start saying something, and then our mind goes like to burgers or hamburgers or something like that, and then we totally miss out on what they said. So that's so important. Keep your awareness on the word that they're saying. Any questions so far on this? anything about communication, how to improve it, listening skills, 5 areas, or how to record anything. So, two effective communicators or speakers that I listen to are Vinny Yang and Philip Hum. Philip Hum is a storyteller and also a speaker. You can improve the way you speak, the articulation, and also storytelling. So I recommend you guys check out both of them and learn a lot on how to really communicate and effectively speak out the ideas that you have. So deeper connections can be formed through this communication. You can unlock deeper connections. You all want to have the better connections with their friends, with their family, with our neighbors, teachers, everyone. So we need to understand that we may not have the awareness that communication is a problem that we are facing. But once you realize that, just think about it really. You're not speaking properly, they're not understanding these problems, these fights. Teacher scolds you because you're not saying something properly. Friend doesn't understand you, just because of the way you speak. You have to realize how you speak is so important. And awareness, awareness that you are lacking will take you to a place where you know that you'll do anything to improve that. And you can start focusing more on that. And it's like in the beginning you just gain knowledge on how to improve. But then you got to realize that after a certain point you don't need as much knowledge. You just need more application, more practice, more time and effort on the skill that you want to implement. So just gaining the knowledge instead of just speaking about this communication. You have to implement the 45-day plan. You have to implement that. Focus on the 5 areas of communication. You have to try it out. I used to be scared of just trying it out because I didn't feel like I needed to do it, but I knew my speaking skills were not great. I knew I was just talking, not communicating. So I developed the resilience, just committing to practice on these areas, on communication skills. And by pressing record, listening to the YouTube videos, I have developed much more practice and skill in this. Once you take multiple videos and analyze it, you can improve the way you speak through camera. It will help you also in speaking to people. But that's different because you have a real person in front of you. It's not like a phone or a laptop. Like phone or laptop doesn't have emotions, won't do anything. Whatever you speak to it, it will not show any emotion. But person, it's the people. You have to understand their body language. Make sure they're understanding if it's a 5-year-old, 10-year-old. Make sure we're communicating in their way of learning or their understanding, so they understand what we are saying. Other thing is we have to make sure the subtle cues of the person, if they are not interested in listening and through the communication skills, we can maybe just slowly end the topic and just move on. Because why would we want to waste our time just speaking on something and wasting our energy on it, even if they're not interested? Then like the other opposite way, listening, we need to make sure that we have no questions in our mind or any thought that we want to say when they're speaking. When someone is speaking, you must have no thoughts. Your awareness should be on that. That's it. Then, when there's a pause, when that person pauses or there's a slight gap where you can maybe then ask a question or say something. That's effective listening, effective communicating, because you're allowing the sender to send communication, knowledge, ideas, with, and the receiver has an open mind, making us understand what they are saying, and then we can ask them questions or any ideas, thoughts on that. So when you're speaking, you have the idea, the big idea that you want to communicate. You must focus all the points on that and have the articulation. You have to breathe so you do not clump the words together, and you can do mouth exercises to improve the clarity of speech. Those are some of the ways you can improve the clarity. The articulation is very important. You have to articulate your thoughts clearly by breaking words down, and you cannot just clump the words together and make it slurred. Communication in 30 years. You can definitely start on improving communication if you focus on 30 days. It for 30 days. And from there, you can master it. But you have to commit to it every single day. You have to be recording every single day. Speak whatever comes to mind, 5 minutes. Analyze it. I think speaking is important, but analyzing that is even more important. So you understand the mistakes that you have made, and in the next video, you can correct them and improve from there. And you just keep practicing over and over again and try to find one mistake and improve it. Then maybe surround yourself with great speakers, great communicators, watch great maybe TED Talks. TED Talks are very important and helpful for improving speaking. You also learn a lot and gain a lot of knowledge. Self-doubt drops are first. You just start with like how's your day, how was your weekend, how you doing now. It's all about the communication, the way you speak. Then you elaborate on that and go more detailed in what you want to say. Do something specific. You have a story to say, and it's interesting to say that. Modulation. Modulation is very key because you don't want to sound monoline. You don't want to sound like a robot. You want to vary it up. That's very key. And the tonality, like previously mentioned for the tone, how you speak, avoiding filler words. Filler words will just dampen or like increase the effect of what you're saying. So that's like um uh and avoid visual habits such as sometimes I will be moving my glasses too much or maybe touching the hair, something like that. You to make sure that it's not disturbing the sender or the communicator. And make sure that you're listening to them. Or even if you're the communicator, make sure that we're not doing any of those visual habits. So I think it's almost an hour of this live session, and there definitely has to be an awareness of you need to improve communication. Even if your communication is you see my video started. Do you have any last questions? I'm just gonna end the session now. It's been almost 1 hour. Now I'll be probably doing part two to this communication and listening skills session because I believe there's a vast amount of knowledge and things that you can learn and that is needed for you to improve the communication. To it's important that first you have to get the awareness. Me just telling you won't actually you just get the idea that you need to improve it. But internally you need to get the awareness and that is you just need to realize all these problems, relationship with your family, friends, brother, sister, teachers, it's all getting affected because of your communication. And if you could just spend some time and improve that, you'll see massive change. You've got to practice, practice, practice. Try the 30-day challenge. Improve on those 5 areas. Record a video and just analyze it. It doesn't even need to be 5 minutes. Just try for 2 minutes, or even in the beginning 1 minute. Just try 1 minute. Record a 1 minute video, and the next day just analyze it. Then focus on improving one mistake and maybe even better. And I think every day to just do that for 30 days. After 30 days, by the August 7th, you'll be in a much better place of communication skill. And just need to commit to that one thing. You don't need to think about communication. You don't need to think about how much do I need to do or what do I need to do just to reach a certain level. But just do the task. That's it. Just don't think about your thoughts, the thought, thoughts that you have, and just record. That's it. Record for 30 days, analyze, and put out the. After 30 days, you see the transformation. 1 month transformation, small transformation in speaking. Then you want to improve even more, and you can definitely go on from there. Yeah, so that's it, guys. So hope you stick to the 45-day challenge and incorporate those good habits in your communication. The areas that you need to focus on, and it's very key. 30 days. 30 days is all it takes to improve communication. We need to have awareness. That's the most important thing. And I'll be coming back probably next week. And until then, bye. See you guys.